Bitcoin roughly 24 hours from its potentially highest weekly close since the final week of December 2021. The real question now is, have the bulls filled every inch of their tissues with crust, or is this not even the true baby bull bust? After you watch this video, I promise you will not be bullish on Bitcoin. You'll be extremely bullish on Bitcoin. Specifically, what has been happening over the last week and what I expect to fully continue in a very big way is going to absolutely shock you and potentially leave you crying, begging for mercy on your knees. So if you love gainers, pumpers, dumpers, and everything in between, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and without any further ado, let's absolutely dump in. Where Bitcoin over the past 4 daily candles has had a massive, some would say even gargantuan, big time pump. But the big question I want to look at is actually more of this. So first off, let's look at altcoins. Mr. Crypto highlighting the very clear, if you've been in the space for at least a full cycle, you know this. Phase 1 is Bitcoin. Flow of money moves into Bitcoin, causing price surges. This is absolutely very crucial. Phase 2 is the next biggest cryptocurrency, Ethereum, the number 1 altcoin. Phase 3 is large caps, things like AVAX, Cardano, coins like this, right? Solana. And then phase 4 is what is typically defined as alt season. This is where the baby alts and just basically everything in between is full of gainers. And that's the cycle we see time and time again. A lot of the times, even now, I still get comments from presumably people that maybe haven't been in a full cycle asking, why is it just Bitcoin pumping? Well, this is the answer. And I expect that, we're still going to be in phase 1 for a decent amount of time. Even though alts have slowly been getting lifted up a little bit, they're still massively down from all-time highs, many of them, most of them, not all of them. But yeah, I expect phase 1, this Bitcoin bustage to, we still have some time left. So with that being said, just very important to understand and remember more so. If we look at this, the Bitcoin 200-week moving average realized price on the MVRV, we are now seeing, if we actually zoom in and take a look at this, the very first inklings of the switch to orange, which is basically the beginning of the transition from pre-bust to full-on bust. When we get deep red, that is kind of when we look to say, hey, the bust was a must, but the bust potentially has now run out of juice. And now we're getting the very first inklings of that transition, though, from the pre-bust, which is kind of the green stage here. Green stage is pre-bust. Orange stage is maximum bust, and then the red stage is bust is most likely done. Also this is a gigantic post. CryptoCon highlighting, unlike the halving cycles theory, the alternate theory says there's a possibility Bitcoin cycles are shifting left by 6 months. This would call for a top around the middle of 2025. And more people are kind of getting convinced of the same thing they get convinced of, in my opinion, almost every cycle, that this time is different. But could this time actually be different? Is this time actually different? Or is it just the same as it's always been? Price for now continues to side with the original halving cycles theory with a top in late 2025. But what would need to happen for this alternate theory that we're talking about right now to become the primary one? Well, new all-time highs potentially before the halving. New all-time highs would appear after May 2024 instead of November 2024. This would mark a monumental shift for Bitcoin. Basically, these new all-time highs actually would be like a month after the halving in this alternate theory instead of like towards the end of 2024. It will mark a monumental shift for Bitcoin, breaking firm cycles that have existed since it was created. Until we see price action going that way, nothing is different, so we can't say that this time is different. But we can prepare for that because it would actually be either validated or invalidated within just the next 3 months. So it's not really that long to wait to see if maybe this is true, right? Who knows? We're getting pretty close to finding out. So Adam Back also talking about something similar. The 1st of October 2021, Bitcoin crossed $47,000. Then it was on its way to its all-time high of about 69,000. All-time high, right? Very nice. 69? Nice. That run-up took 41 days. There are 70 days until the next Bitcoin halving. Just another data point for what it looks like and how we may yet get a new all-time high or even $100,000 per Bitcoin before the halving, says Adam Back. So I do want to defer to the top comment. Normal price discovery extends 18 months after the halving. I've seen a ton of people saying peak in 2024. Maybe those people are just impatient. Maybe they see something. I don't know. Any reason we wouldn't keep running into the back half of 2025 like we always do? His response is, why not both? Pre-halving bust and continuing 18 months after? I don't want to say that's bullish, but that's extremely bullish. Also, as we continue talking about these altcoins, the market cap is ready to move higher. The altcoin market the market cap did recently break out of the accumulation phase with price testing the 700 billion market cap area for the past few weeks. Looks like prices confirm the area as support and is ready to move higher. $4 trillion coming in the entire altcoin market, Mags says here on crypto, with roughly 5 or 6 trillion going into Bitcoin, potentially. Right? If we zoom in here, you can kind of see these peaks and breaking out of the accumulation range, or as I like to call it, the pre-bust phase. Preston Pish saying the incoming price run is going to be a massive cognitive dissonance moment for professional money managers. 16 years in, a fourth rebirth from dead, right? Because Bitcoin has been declared basically, well, it has been declared dead hundreds of times, but it's been within about 4 different eras of being called dead. BlackRock leading the ETF products, having outperformed all previous Wall Street ETF launches. Actually, this directly goes into a different tweet that I want to talk about right here. And that is that Trading Lord tweeted that he just met with an associate who used to manage 10 figures on Wall Street, now a big crypto investor, a big crypto bull. Conclusion of his discussion, he says, is we're gonna be going so much higher. Retail will be priced out of Bitcoin sooner than you think. And then he said he's going to be dropping a explainer. Is this just clickbait, or is this in fact what's actually going on behind the scenes? Right? Very big. So also Eric Balcuna is talking about the 9 Bitcoin spot ETFs. He said, I thought the 9 would get a bit weaker as GBTC outflow subsided, but they're actually getting stronger. Another $500 million day beyond GBTC being sold, up almost 3 billion net rolling flows and 10 billion in total assets under management. BlackRock's ETF is now at 4 billion in assets under management, with $500 million in volume yesterday only, the second day more than GBTC outflows. You can see here, this was yesterday's flows. We take a look right here. February 9th, 251 million just for BlackRock's ETF. Also here, Dylan DeClaire saying spot ETF flows through 1 month, over 50,000 Bitcoin in net inflows, including the 150,000 Bitcoin that were drained from Grayscale, eclipsing the outflows, right? The inflows dominating and winning over the outflows. Very likely the trend is going to continue, that the inflows are going to decrease and the outflows from GBTC can only decrease. They have a limited amount. However, Bitcoin has unlimited upside, in my opinion. HODL 15 Capital talking about the Bitcoin ETF milestone. ARK Invest Bitcoin ETF hit 1 billion in Bitcoin holdings with over 20,000 Bitcoin in just 20 days, right? Basically, this is just illustrating multiple Bitcoin spot ETFs are just dominating the ETF space, completely dominating records in the ETF Wall Street space. Here we go. Yesterday, Bitcoin ETF holdings, huge net positive day yesterday with ETFs buying about 12,000 Bitcoin. That's insane in a single day. Insane. Bitcoin ETFs are showing no signs of slowing down with a total net inflow of over 50,000 Bitcoin since the inception. We can take a look at this chart right here. We can zoom in, net ETF flows daily and total to date. Look at this. If you want to be bullish on Bitcoin, seeing this continue to go up like this is extremely bullish, and there is no debating it. It's not subjective. So with that being said, Bitcoin currently, weekend trading's not super significant in my opinion. A lot of people agree. We don't really like to look at weekend trading with too much of an impact on everything, considering also how strong the stock market's been, and the stock market is not open on weekends. So if we look at Bitcoin on the daily chart or the 4-hour chart, you can see looks pretty good. We're still a little bit of ways off from the January 11th highs of about 49,000. We got all the way up to about a little above 48,000, but a lot of people are expecting this upcoming week to be massive, especially as people are going to be talking about how insanely successful the Bitcoin spot ETFs were this past week, despite everything. I think this chart really illustrates it nicely. This was the hype, right? This was the ETF hype. This was the massive, absolutely gigantic sell the news event. And if you can't tell, I'm being sarcastic. This was, I mean, from very top to very bottom was about 20%. And it's already basically back in just a couple of weeks to those highs, right? And I think these institutions, as you know, many of these tweets that I just covered said, a lot of these people, a lot of these institutional money managers are getting more and more bullish. Is this upcoming week for Bitcoin going to be even bigger than the last? Potentially. Especially considering we have so much support below us. It is so hard for me to be just to be bearish on this. There's so much bullishness to take out of this market, to take from this market. I do want to see, obviously, Bitcoin over the next week, during this next trading upcoming week, break above. Again, it's so important that if we get a weekly candle close above about 43,000, it'll be the highest weekly close Bitcoin has had, going all the way back, depending on how high we close, either to March 2022 or even potentially December of 2021. Almost literally erasing. Well, so far, yes, literally erasing all of this price action, all of this doom and gloom that people were convinced Bitcoin was not even going to hit 20. Remember that? People were literally saying Bitcoin wouldn't hit $20,000 again until like 2024, 2025. Can you believe this? People were saying this. And those people that were saying this were getting hundreds of retweets, thousands of views. You have to remember this, right? I think it's your duty to remember the people that were drawing things like this. You know, say we were right here, drawing things like this, because they could not have been more wrong. Not only did the chart not do this, it did the exact opposite. And you need to remember it every single day that you're thinking about Bitcoin. It is something you want to remember, because in the future, Bitcoin will dump again. And those same people will come out and draw garbage like that, right? Especially after like a year-long dump. Give me a break. But after a big dump, people will start getting a lot of engagement by drawing even bigger dumps, fantasy dumps. And it's your job as an investor and as a hopefully rational human being to understand who is feeding you that garbage and never, ever, ever listen to them ever again. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but these people are ridiculous, right? Was I feeling very bullish on Bitcoin when we were right here? In a way, yes, but also in a way, no. I wasn't like super happy that Bitcoin was getting dumped on, even though I was buying the entire way. But for a minute, did I ever think, hey, you know, maybe these people calling for 10K, 5K, 1K are right? No. And with more experience, you won't believe that either. It's unfortunate because I feel like the people that do end up believing stuff like that, they just get preyed on by the influencers that just, you know, after massive dumpiness and when people are starting to feel down and negative about the market, they take advantage of that and just throw out the most ridiculous price targets ever. And a lot of the times people believe it for one reason: fear. Fear makes people think very irrationally, more than any other emotion. So with that being said, absolutely, you can't be bullish enough. And sign up with Femex in the description below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, or start trading. Without any further ado.